Let's talk about the good kind of ego, shall we? Hello there, my name is Celerity, and this is 10-minute talks, where I record 10 minutes and post whatever is usable. I think there is this blanket frustration with ego, a fundamental misunderstanding of it, because we only ever experience it at its incredible exaggeration, right? Ego is a tool, like so many in our mental toolbox. It is the shield with which we guard our heart, and the sword with which we impress, where we push ourselves and our influence on other people. There's been an incredible overcorrection in the practice of the performance of humility by people who do either have incredibly large egos and are trying to get fed, or from people who have no egos who believe that that is the righteous way to walk. Ego is really just a sense of self-importance and a security in that self-importance. It's the feeling that you are worthy of a space, that you deserve to be there, that whatever is on the table, you deserve a cut of that. And I think in and of itself, we've stigmatized this right to want and grab so much that the only people who are doing it are the people with inflated senses of ego, who do genuinely believe that they are entitled to the world. Now, the people I'm talking to in my audience, they're not the kind of individual who thinks that the world is their oyster. If anything, we feel like renters. What having a low ego is like, feeling and believing yourself to be undeserving of the most minimal things. The people who I'm trying to build the ego up of aren't the people who want to run for president. They're the people who apologize when they don't open the door wide enough for another person. Because that self-importance is a valuable part of you. You need to know your worth. You need to, on some level, to some degree, understand that your existence on this earth is not just incidental. That you're not part of the ride, but you can be making the decisions. And a lot of us are taught humility, self-sacrifice, and kindness are all just complete overarching goods. And I think in a healthy society, we see a decent amount of that from everyone. We don't create a generation of martyrs. We create a generation of people who understand themselves, understand their worth, and are able to invest themselves in their communities. The self-sacrifice that they do is self-sacrifice that they choose to offer up, and they're not sacrificing themselves so much as everyone is mutually investing. I mean, we've even seen it in the workplace, right? People who really love their jobs go the extra mile for it. And we see these good ideals, that are markers of a empathetic, community-driven person be taken advantage of by people who don't care. How often has a person seen how excited you are for a job and continued to push you past what you were willing to give until you were no longer excited? How many of those times was it their fault, really? How many times could you just not say no? When has a supervisor or a teacher or a parent asked you something more than what you can provide or give, and by virtue of either wanting to appear grateful or just genuine gratefulness, you put yourself entirely to the side in order to serve them? The ability to say no is a marker of having a healthy ego, having the ego that means that you are secure in yourself, that you are able to proceed and care for yourself before you care for other people. You put your mask on first on a plane before you put them on everyone else, because if you die of hypoxia first, so is everyone else. I know martyrs are incredibly important. They're often the piece of straw that breaks the back of oppressors and negative infrastructure. But I think this idea that we all must be martyrs rubs me the wrong way. Dying is easy. Living is much, much harder. And living for yourself for a happy life is even harder than that. And if you're fulfilled by service, please serve. Just make sure it's from you. Make sure that it is your genuine excitement to do these things. We need more people like you. And then there is a bad ego, of course. That hypersensitivity, that neglect of criticism, that hyper-vulnerability. But I would argue that that is not a excessive ego so much as it is a lack of it, right? When the ego is healthy, you are able to weather those comments and opinions without taking it too hard. You are able to quietly and positively manage what information is useful, what information is guff and garbage, and you were able to implement that healthily into the matrix that is your personality. When you do not have a healthy ego, you might construct yourself or yourself in the immediate future around that criticism. You take it too hard, and because there's no sense of self behind the actions that you're doing, it is incredibly easy to manipulate. Self-importance, entitlement to your own space is so important. Because if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand up for yourself, you're going to be trampled by people who's, just by virtue of having more willpower than you, get their way. They might not even know that they're doing it. The worst thing about having a poor ego is that you don't realize how much power you actually have. You don't realize that your no means something to most people. And most people don't realize they're asking too much of you until you break down. Yeah, it's okay. I can handle that. I can do that. Doing that enough times, eventually there's not going to be enough of you there. And they don't even know that they're pulling from you. I have a wall, right? I have a wall covered in note cards of things that I want to remember. And one of them is have more boundaries than you have empathy. I think that's really wonderful, right? I think it's really endemic of where most of us are. Some of us care too much, and I'm not saying don't care, but I'm saying care for the person who's going to serve you the most and protect you the most and be there for you all the time. Care for yourself. Make sure that they're healthy and happy and excited, and once that is all in play, put the mask of your friend on. Ding ding ding, 10 minutes.